Islanders are playing roulette with their roster, everybody. Welcome to Isles Talk. I believe this is we're into season 6, episode 6, something like that. And welcome everyone. And my name is Paul Kreischer. I am your one of your hosts for this evening. Gary is on the mend tonight, boys and girls. He's not feeling well. Hopefully he'll be back next week. But joining me tonight, Joe Panettiere. Joe, how are you?
Very good. How about you?
Right. Yeah, we're all kinds of happy now.
Yeah, we won't go into
Anyway, yeah,
it.
we're good. We are we're gonna do something we've done this before. Um, and I have said this before, and I will say it again numerous times. I love having Joe on the show. I love having Gary on the show. I love having the guests come on because it is hockey talk. It is Islanders talk, and the way we've been able to get you guys, go ahead, do what you got to do. And the way the fans have interacted with us, um, the hockey talk has been absolutely phenomenal. So we're gonna do something not different, but it's something we really haven't talked about yet because the Islanders haven't put themselves in this kind of a situation. So, um, again, welcome guys to the show. What we're gonna do tonight, we are going to talk about the Islanders playing roulette with the roster. We'll briefly talk about Isaiah George. And then during our water cooler segment, um, Joe and I are going to have a conversation about making moves for veterans now to help the team or continue to bring the kids up. And we're going to hash this out to the best we can. We're not looking for specific answers. This is literally, we're bringing you into a conversation that Joe and I have been doing now, or conversations that Joe and I have been doing for years. It's why we're friends for this long, and at least on the Islanders side. And we want to bring you into this conversation as well. So, having said that, uh, Islanders, Joe, have been banged up. Anthony Duclair is now LTIR. Matthew Barzell is LTIR. Adam Pelech, as of right now, is injured reserve. Mike Riley is day to day, and Alexander Romanov is also day to day, but he took a good shot as well. Um, Looking at the standings, even with the players that the Islanders have lost, um, again to your credit, and I again we joke, I hate giving Joe credit where credit is due. It's just who we are, but I gotta give him credit on this one. He did have Carolina doing this well this early. I did not. Um, they are leading the pack in the division, followed by the Rangers and the Capitals, the Devils, Columbus, the Isles, the Pens, and the Flyers. And then you got your Atlantic Division, which, in all honesty, folks, for right now, it's just Florida, Tampa, and Toronto in no particular order. For those of you who want Lou Lamoriello fired, not happening. Not in this Eastern Conference because we've been saying it before at the beginning of the show, at the beginning of the season. This is going to take a while for everything to really take shape. But Joe was spot on when it came to trying to catch up to teams who took a very quick leap out of the gates. And you are seeing that now. And Joe, I don't know. I think we got to go back to what? 93, maybe 95 for the Islanders when you only needed like 82 points to get into the playoffs and they got in. It was 94. They had like 84 points and they got into the
Yeah,
playoffs. And
yeah,
then they got slaughtered by the Rangers.
yeah.
Right now, and again, we want to emphasize this. It's early. We still don't do this until game 31. We don't eliminate teams until game 31 officially, but it is game 12, 13, 14, 15 for most of these teams. In eighth place, you only need an 82-point pace. You need a 500 NHL record to get into the playoffs, Joe. So Any loss by Columbus, any loss by the Senators, any loss to the Wings, and a win against the Senators, lo and behold, Joe, the Islanders can be in 8th place with 1 win.
Yeah. Listen, they're not in a great spot, but they're
No,
not in a bad spot.
no.
You know, the Capitals are a team that's overachieving. You want to say
Okay.
right now,
Okay.
we're like a 5 or 6 game win streak of getting over the hump and getting
Yep.
right into the thick of things,
Yep.
but now you're piling up injuries.
Right.
Okay. It's not like you're in a slump. Your team's not producing. The team's producing, they're playing good hockey, but
Right.
they're missing key pieces. Now you're gonna see with practically 3 of your stars out of the lineup.
Right.
All right.
Right.
You're gonna see how good Patrick Waugh is as a coach. We're
Bingo.
bringing these kids in. Well, we talked about Hutton. Hutton, he's an even keel player. He's going to plug
Yep.
a hole for you. He's not going to hurt you.
Yep. Right.
Is this the right time to bring this kid up? Sure. There's no pressure on you now. You have
Right.
injuries. You have to see
Right.
what this kid has.
Sure.
But like I said, it's how you're playing, and now
Right.
we're going to see what happens with the coaching with Patrick Waugh dealing with these injuries.
Right. And let me help you out with that. In terms of the offense, boys and girls, the Islanders are currently on pace for 218 goals. It's not a lot. We know that. However, to Joe's credit here, if you were to take Barzell out, you take out Anthony Duclair out, you take out all those players that we just mentioned, guess what their goal total is supposed to be? 220. Okay.
Mhm.
So offensively, they are doing what they're supposed to be doing. It's just not there at the moment. Now, defensively, the Islanders are on pace to give up 226 goals. And if you've been following us for years now, I like to play those percentages. Anything under 230 right now gives you a 93% chance of the Islanders making the playoffs. Unfortunately, it's looking like this might have to be a second half team to get themselves into the playoffs because, in all honesty, as we were just going through the standings, and Joe just said it, I don't know if Columbus is going to do a 5-game winning streak. I don't see the Sens doing a 5-game winning streak yet. Maybe the Wings, but they got to have some sensational goaltending. Boston is struggling right now. Joe, it's right there, bro. It's a 5 or 6-game winning streak. If the Islanders can get any kind of healthy, they could
Yeah.
probably pull that off.
Yeah. I listen, Carolina got off to the start that I was hoping we would have got off to.
Right.
Build up that point total. This way, if
Right.
something like this happens and teams catch you,
Right.
you have a little bit of a cushion,
Cushion.
but right. But now these injuries, they have the chance to actually back us up in the standings.
Yeah, they can.
But like I said, it's that 5 or 6 game win streak, and like even the Penguins, they're not a threat
No.
right now. But it's the Devils. I think their last 10, they're 4-4-2. That's a team that could flip that easily. So
Yeah.
we have teams ahead of us. We can't let them get too far ahead
Too
of
far.
us.
I agree.
So,
I agree. And where you had Carolina doing as well as they were, I did have Washington doing as well. Right. You and I flip-flopped on them.
right.
But either way, we were hoping the Islanders to be 9-2 or 8-3 or somewhere in that direction. to
Right.
put them in a nice, comfortable spot. We're not telling everyone the Islanders are going to rack up 119 or 127. That's it. That's not what. Like we just said, we wanted
Right.
that cushion just in case something happened. Good evening,
Right.
Charles. How are you? So, but we are playing a little
Yeah, no,
Islander roulette. Yeah, go
see,
ahead.
now these type of injuries, when you lose a defenseman or two, like three, this puts stress on the goaltending now. Now you
Yes.
have Sorokin coming off surgery. Okay, Varlamov hasn't been playing, his best yet. But now you're going to put stress on the goaltending to hold you into these games.
Right. Right. And I'm going to add to that as well. Noah Dobson played 30 minutes last night. You don't
Yeah.
want that
Right.
again. You
Right.
don't want that again. So, listen, with one of the defensive moves, since we're talking about defense here for a moment, Samuel Bolduc lasted one game, was sent down, and the Islanders brought up Isaiah George after only playing 4 American Hockey League games, but having a very successful Ontario Hockey League career with the London Knights. Before we go any further, I was worried that this could have been a move where I was hoping Isaiah George was not being showcased last game. And Joe and I were able to get confirmation that Isaiah George, as of right now, is not being showcased. We want to emphasize that right now on this show. He is not being showcased. So, this kid is up here to replace Samuel Bolduc, but it also gave us, we're going to take an educated guess here, Joe, that Adam Pelech could be out maybe a little longer. Because
Yeah,
I mean,
I would. My gut feeling is I think he's going to
yeah,
be out a little
yeah,
bit
I,
longer.
I like the gut feeling thing. The Islanders currently have $9 million in long-term injured reserve. They don't need any more putting Pelech there if they don't have to. But with Isaiah George coming in, who is certainly more on the defensive side, but he's got the speed as well. I think this would be a great time for Isaiah George to at least show that he can keep pace with
Right.
players in the NHL. And I've said this for years. You guys know this already. I don't care how many games these younger players have played in the American Hockey League, whether it's 4, 40, 400.
Mm-hmm.
The moment you get to the NHL, I just want to see if you can keep up with the pace and the speed of the NHL. Don't put any more expectations on these kids. And after one game, Joe, he looked good.
Mm-hmm.
He was put in the overtime. He ended up getting 16 minutes. He was paired with Grant Hutton at the same time. Both are
Right.
very good, fundamentally sound.
Mm-hmm.
And George is faster. And we had said this before Romanov got injured. If Romanov had a little more Dobson,
Right.
and Dobson had a little more Romanov, that would be phenomenal. And I'm going to go a little step further here. If Isaiah George had a little more Dennis Chalowski on the offensive side, and if Chalowski had a lot more of the Isaiah George and the defensive style, spot on. Like,
Right.
I'm in heaven with this group. Play all those kids like that. So for now, if Adam Pelech, Mike Riley, and that's who you are getting out of Isaiah George, folks. You are going to get a Mike Riley. When that's going to happen, whenever it happens, whenever he really gets himself going here. As an FYI, Pelech got plates and screws in his jaw. I have my inside sources. Okay. we'll go along with that for now. You know, we'll ask. We'll ask. We'll get confirmation on that, but I don't think we'll get that anyway. But for now, we'll go along. He's out long
Yeah.
term. Okay, that coincides with what we've been talking about. Um,
Well, let's talk about George 1 second.
let's
If
go
you
for
if
it.
you if you're if you're if you're Wah, right? You tell this kid, listen, he's his game is more stay at home defenseman.
Sure. Sure.
Okay,
For now, yes.
there's no pressure on him. You tell him make your game simple. You're there to
Yep.
play defense. That's
Right.
it. Keep it simple. You get under
Right.
pressure, send it up the boards, do whatever you have to do to just, make it through the shift. That's
Right.
fine. This is the perfect time to bring this kid up,
Right.
especially for the fans, because
Yep.
now you have three defensemen down.
Yep.
Okay, you're not going to go out and make a deal and fill a hole. You're
Right.
not going to do that. So this is actually a perfect storm. I mean, well, it's not a perfect storm. You got three to five players injured, but it actually it's just the right time to see what this kid has. You know what I mean? They're
Right.
definitely not. If there was no injuries or maybe one injury and they bring this kid up, then I
Right.
would say, all right, yeah, maybe it's more of a showcase. They're going to look to move him, bring somebody
Sure.
in. But when you're banged up like this, no, I can't see them. I can't see them doing
No.
that.
No. And for those of you again who have been following the show religiously, first off, we thank you. But for those of you who know, for me, following the prospects and the draft and everything else like that, um, I'm old school. I'm a Bill Torrey type of Jimmy Devellano, Steve Eiserman, Dave Poyle. Keep these kids in the minors longer probably than they should, so that way when they do come up, uh, they'll never go back down. I'm that type of fan when it comes to that. However, I 100% agree with Joe. I'm more along the lines of now, when there are injuries, play the kids. Play the kids, bring them up. They're under no pressure right now, 12, 13 games in. Okay. The veterans already shot themselves in the foot the first 10 games. Let's just be honest. The veterans shot themselves in the foot the first 10 games as a team. As a team. Now you have injuries, but what we're seeing now compared to what we saw in 21-22, Joe. Um, you know, games 10 through 20, that was when that COVID broke out, hit the Islanders, and we basically played Bridgeport, and the kids looked completely out of place.
Mm-hmm.
They just weren't ready. They weren't there.
No,
The development wasn't there.
right.
COVID may have played a part. I go along with that, but there was not enough organizational depth. Last year, they improved on that a little bit more, bringing in some of the players, and they managed to hold on and get into a playoff spot. Now, especially this year, they have about 85, 90% of the kids I was all hoping they would bring in at this point for Bridgeport to hopefully not turn into a San Jose Sharks season, an Anaheim Ducks season, or a Chicago Blackhawks season. I'm hoping there's enough talent to at least sustain over the next, call it now, eight games until at least Duclair comes back or Romanoff. We're not sure yet. But
Right.
that's my hope. If the kids can come in and this team can even float around 500, that's a big, big thing. So we're going to put this question out for you guys. Would you rather see the Islanders make a trade? Would you rather see them trade for a veteran, or put in a waiver claim for a veteran and send these kids down? or are you more comfortable right now show not I don't want to say showcasing the kids, but bringing up the kids just to see what they can do, depending on how the season has gone. Joe, you kind of answered that already. Um, if Pellick is in fact out long term, let's just have this conversation because
Yeah.
it's now water cooler talk. So this is complete speculation here, folks. This is what Joe and I do over the summer. These are our hockey conversations. Um, if Pellick really is out long term, do you want to put that much pressure on Isaiah George, or would you rather bring in a defenseman to kind of ease that pressure? Because it's like I said, Noah Dobson is now playing 30 minutes a game, and we're only game 13 in, and you're putting more pressure on Sorokin. What would you rather see? More minutes for someone like Isaiah George, or bring in a vet?
Well, you actually that's the thing. The Islanders are in a good spot. They don't have to make
Right.
a deal for a veteran. They have
From the
Hutton.
standings, right?
They have
Right.
Hutton.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? They're
Let's
not.
talk Hutton. Yeah, let's
Right.
talk Hutton. You and I have been
Right.
talking Hutton for years. Go for it.
It's just he's a steady defenseman. Okay, he could give you that offensive power when needed, but I wouldn't be in a rush to make a move right now unless the guys that you bring up just can't handle it. Then you got to
Right.
say, okay, we got to make a move. But
Right.
right now, I think it's not on George. It's on Hutton right now. If he plays the way he's able to play, the Islanders aren't going to have to make a move for a defenseman.
Right.
We get another injury, well, then then you're
Right.
going to have to bite the bullet and make a move. But I like we were talking about before. I like this idea of bringing the kids up, let them get a taste. We said 4 to 6 weeks for Barzell and
Correct.
and who else?
Duclair?
Duclair's 4 to 6 weeks too.
I think, yeah, I think so.
All right. That's, let's say, an 18 to 20 game span. If the defense holds up, they keep you in the season. But the next 20 games can make or break our season.
It could.
Yeah, and you lose another defenseman, or these kids can't hold up, then you're gonna have to bite the bullet and make a move.
Right. What is up with the Barzell injury? Well, look, he took he took an awkward hit. He took an awkward hit, and I don't know if they called it upper body, but the way he took that hit bothered me a little bit. I think he'll come back whenever he actually is ready to come back. I'm not going to speculate on what he has. That hit that he took was not pretty. So I don't think he broke anything. Let's just put it to you that way. But it's going to be on him when he's ready to come back. I just don't think that injury. I think that's why he was put on LTIR. When he's ready to come back, he will be ready to come back. I don't think it's anything broken, to my knowledge. Duclair could be back. I think Duclair's supposed to be back in another month. I think we all said the beginning of December, right? Something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a minimum 10 games, and I think we're already 2 or 3 games in. So call it 7 more games, maybe 10, whatever. Yeah, no, George was impressive in a limited sample size. Again, it's only one game, but what we're talking about tonight is playing these younger and again, Hutton isn't young anymore. I think he's 20, 28, 27, something like
Yeah,
that.
around that.
But
Yeah.
he's got the experience, you're right. But playing with someone with Isaiah George who can bring the puck up. I don't want to use this example, but someone bringing up the puck and staying back. I would almost say like a Calvin DeHaan, Scott Mayfield type of a combination there.
It's not a shabby combination.
No, it's not. It's not, and I and I put Isaiah George in a Mike Riley spot because I think Isaiah George has that speed. He's quicker than Calvin DeHaan, but
Mhm.
Calvin DeHaan had a bigger IQ. I like the way Mike Riley plays the game for now, and I think if Isaiah can emulate Mike Riley, especially more on a defensive side, this kid's going to be very good as a bottom pair, no doubt. He may even get a couple of years as a top four, depending on his progression, but also
Right.
who he's paired with. So I love that he's playing with Hutton because Hutton is a very Adam Pellick type right-handed defenseman. Just
Right.
keep the game simple. Sharks
Know what
play
this team?
same
Know what this
defensive
team
game.
needs? This team.
Go
This
ahead.
team needs like a 6'3" or 6'4" Thomas Hickey type defenseman.
Oh my God, yeah.
Steady
Oh my
defenseman.
God, yeah. But put him with Noah Dobson.
There you go.
Put him with Noah
There
Dobson.
you go. That's what they need. That's a steady defenseman. Plays the game
Another
smart.
calming. Let me ask you something. I love I we've always said lately we've said that Noah Dobson needs a little more Alexander Romanov. Is it possible he may need an older veteran to kind of calm him down, to kind of take that pressure off him? Because Romanov is more of a like a firecracker, even though his defensive game has improved that much.
Yeah.
Does Noah Dobson need veteran presence on
He
his
need,
line?
he needs like a Tommy Alberline that played for the Devils.
Right.
Tommy Alberline. He needs that type of player with him.
Okay.
Even keel,
Right.
steady position, very sound positionally, doesn't get caught, doesn't put extra stress on his partner, his D partner. You need and that's like a Thomas Hickey. He's very very sound, but that's what most defensemen need a partner like that. Just
Right.
very, especially if you're an offensive defenseman, you like to step up on a player. You know what I mean? You get caught out of position because you threw a big hit. You want that guy. He's going to be there. That's what you need for him.
Yep.
That's my opinion.
Yeah. Chris Tanev is a very good example, Randy, but that's too expensive right now.
Yeah,
Good
but
idea. But
perfect idea though. I
yeah,
would love that.
yeah. Jody, I was very surprised when Wah had George out there for OT. Sometimes when a coach shows confidence in your player, absolutely. But I'll say this, Jody, I'll say this with Isaiah George. Defensively, he's sound. I have never complained about his defensive game. And his speed was good. What I've been waiting for him to do, and this was something I was waiting for him to do in Bridgeport, was to put up a few more offensive numbers while getting his defensive game up to speed with the American Hockey League and then eventually the NHL. I still put him as a better defensive version to Mike Riley. And I think he would be a solid bottom six
Mhm.
throughout his entire NHL career. Like I said, possibly top four on a
Right,
few occasions. But, defensively, I'm not concerned with him. Now, if you
right.
put Dennis Chalowski out on the OT, I'm scared to death.
Well, he had to
But
listen. Was not going to put him out there if the kid was getting caught
bingo,
shift after shift out of position. Okay,
bingo.
she made a great point, Jody. He's out there because he was playing a sound game,
Yes,
especially in overtime. You're not going to put somebody who's making mistakes out there in overtime.
yeah,
He was positionally sound, so that's a
absolutely,
great point. Great point, Jody.
absolutely. No, great points all across here. No, this is fine. So, and I'll go with this with Robin. Robin, we talked about this before. Hate to give the kids too much time against the heavy lines. And I think who Angie, yes. Angie brought up a really good point here as well. It was a good game for him to play. That's the kicker. You're
Hmm.
both right. Robin and Angie were both correct on this. It was a good time to bring him up. It's Pittsburgh. Let's just be honest. Okay.
Right.
Sidney
Hmm.
Crosby's going to score on you anyway. Let's see how you are positionally against everybody else. I'm going to say this now. Going up against Ottawa is a good test for Isaiah George. The real test will be the Devils and their speed. Is he
Hmm.
able to match their speed? I'm not looking for points. I'm not, Joe, I'm not so much worried about turnovers either with this kid. I just want
Right.
to see if he can keep up with some of those second or third line players that who are fast on that Devils team.
Well,
Because they're
listen, you have to expect mistakes. Okay,
absolutely,
you bring a kid
absolutely
up, you have to expect that. But now you also have to see against this Devil team, which they have four very fast lines, and
yeah,
they come at you. They come at you in waves. When they're
right,
healthy, we talked about them. When they're a healthy team, they roll four lines and they attack you. Now you'll see against a team like that where this kid is as far as his hockey sense.
right.
If he gets caught out of position, because now you're dealing with speed. So that's definitely going to be a big test, and I think he'll do fine. He
Right,
looks like he's positionally sound,
right.
and against a fast team, that's all you have to do is play your position. You don't have to do any more. There's no pressure on him. Just play your game.
Yep. And again, the quickness between the ears, absolutely. There no doubt about that. Um, so yeah, listen, let's stick with the Devils here for a moment. Um, I've talked to a couple of season ticket holders now, and they've been there when it was the Izod Center, the Brendan Byrne, and now they're there
Mhm.
for the Rock.
Right.
They're not comfortable with Jake Allen. They're still not confident with this team yet. On they think they probably should have been better. They're
Hmm.
8-5-2, and that's a great record, but they're already 4 games in hand. And they're behind Carolina, they're behind the Rangers and a little bit of the Capitals here,
Yeah.
at least in terms of the percentages.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
do the Devils turn into a one goalie team again? They're going to be tough.
They're not going to be a
It's going to
one.
be a
They're
tough
not.
goal. You think Jake Allen's going to come out?
Yeah. I think he's going to break out.
Okay.
I think he's going to be
I
fine.
don't want to see Jake Allen break out against the Islanders, though.
He's going to listen. They all go through this. Okay, bro. I mean, Brodeur, probably the greatest ever, had his moments. You know what I mean, where he looked
Right.
invincible. But then he would go on those 30-game streaks where he was just fantastic. Is Allen? We're comparing Allen to Brodeur, but you know,
Yeah, Allen
hey,
has had
listen,
2 shutouts in his last 2 games, exactly.
listen. They're top heavy with one goalie. They have an A
Right,
and a B, but that B goalie could very easily be an A goalie when
okay,
he finds his game. So the Devils have no problem in that. That's not their problem.
okay. So and again, I've been talking to a couple of Ranger fans as well, season ticket holders, and their main complaint is that they're beating teams below them, which is good, but they really haven't stepped up against, those bigger teams. They're not completely convinced either that the Rangers can take all of this. And the reason why I'm bringing this up, folks, is because we're having this conversation tonight of either bringing in vets to help the team now to possibly catch these teams or letting the kids play and develop at some point and then waiting for players like Pellick, Barzell, Romanoff, all these guys to come back and then make a move. Um, some fans just don't have a lot of confidence right now in the Rangers and Devils. Columbus, look, we got to give them all the credit in the world. 5-5-2. That's a great start as far as I'm concerned for them. I eventually see them fading. But the Canes and Capitals are full of confidence. The Rangers and Devils are Devils are on a hot streak right now, granted. But they, I don't know. I still think it's a good time to play the kids as far as I'm concerned because Islander fans, ah,
Do you have a choice right
I don't
now?
know. What's that?
Do you have a choice right now? But to
No,
play the
no,
kid.
no. Yeah.
As far as the
Everyone can beat
Rangers,
anyone. Yeah.
as far as the Rangers, I'll say it again, and I've been saying it the last 4 seasons. Okay, they're not built to play against the grinding teams.
No, they're not.
Okay, Florida, when they played them, what was it, 3 or 4 games back? They banged them up. They don't want to play
Sure.
along the boards. That's a team that wants to skate. So
Sure.
you're going to see more of the same.
Right.
You're going to see the Rangers run away with points in the division, but they're going to crap out again in the playoffs. That's it.
Right.
They wear their goaltending down. They wear their defensemen down. That's the rut that they fall in when it comes
Right.
playoff time.
I love this one with Rodney though. Varley's got to play better.
Absolutely.
Varley's got to play better. I think that's I again. Ottawa will be a good test. I think Varley needs to go in against Ottawa, put Sorokin in against New Jersey. Or would you go
Yeah.
vice versa? Would you go Sorokin against Ottawa and go for that win? And do you struggle with New Jersey? What do you go?
No.
All right, guys,
I
that's a
want
question in the chat. Do you want to see Varley go up against New Jersey or Ottawa? Who do you want in net for Ottawa? Put that in the chat. Joe, give me your thoughts.
to see Sorokin in against the Devils. But
Okay.
then again, here we go. Now, if we put a workload on Sorokin during this injury thing we're in right now, okay, bringing up these kids, goalie's going to have to win you a game or two to make up for whatever mistakes they made. Now you got a goalie coming off a back injury, all right, well, back surgery, and you have a goalie right now that's not playing well.
Right.
This 20-game stretch until this team gets healthy again is going to make or break a playoff shot. But,
Yeah. No doubt.
I want to see Volley against the Senators, and I want to see Sorokin against the Devils. You got to listen. You got to put Sorokin in against the Devils because you have the kids playing on defense.
That's true.
You understand? You don't want to go in against the Devils and give up 7 or 8 goals.
That's true.
And
you want to
ruin,
get that confidence going.
and ruin their psyche. Exactly.
Right. That's it. Good move. No, I like that. Now, let's talk about this one. Wally and Holmstrom are playing now with the carrot, playing time being dangled in front of them. Holmstrom finally got a goal.
Mm-hmm.
Power play goal. He's starting to rack up a couple of points. Could still be better. Wally, give me your thoughts on Wally. For me, it looks like he's finally finding a niche when he's playing, but he's almost. It's almost like one step forward, 2 steps back with him.
This kid could be a Todd Bertuzzi.
I know.
If he could find his game, I see him flying down the wing and just dipping his shoulder and taking out the goalie. Never mind scoring the goal, just taking the goalie out. That's it. You remember Todd Bertuzzi when he used to he used to come down along the boards, the goalies stop him. You're going to get hit with a truck. That's this kid. I mean, what are you going to do? You got to grab him and shake him and say, "Hey, kid, come on, let's go." Yeah. He's got to play. He's the type of guy like a Wendell Clark. He's got to play with an edge. He's got to play with some nastiness. Yes. That's what he's got to do. He's got to be nasty. He's a big guy. Come on.
Varley in Ottawa. Varley. Yep. Good. That's fine.
Yeah.
Sens will make Varley want to retire. Stop it, Randy. He's such a jerk. I want Sorokin against the Sens. He's let a few soft ones in lately. That's true. Oh, look out. Angie's done. Angie's done. She's like, I want to win. I'm tired of this crap. They both need to step up. Good for you, Angie. I'm good with that. That's fine. Yeah, and that kind of goes along with what Robin said before. The soft goals by Sorokin. Varley needs to step his game up. They both need to step their game up a little bit. I agree with that. I think over certainly the next 10 games, they're going to have to start taking over these games. It's just the way it is. But I think that's also on the coaches. It's on the coaches as well. The coaches have to take over to a certain degree with the system that they're going to implement if they're going to play these kids.
Right.
But bottom line, it's down to Varley and Sorokin. So Wally will get better. I still think so. I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful for Wally. I'm hoping it just comes all together for him this year. Bingo. Hit the net, play with an edge.
That's it.
Yep.
That's it. That's his game.
Yep. Simon could have had 2. That's true. Wally made a nice move with speed, but missed the net. His confidence is getting there. Look, we said this at the beginning of the season. This was not going to be an easy Eastern Conference to predict. The Islanders are now included in that. We were kind of hoping for a 100-point season out of these kids, but thankfully, most of the vets, a good chunk of the vets from last year went over to the Western Conference this year, and every team's going through some growing pains, and right now that includes the Islanders. I take top or two, yes,
yeah,
no doubt.
And you also got to realize something: any type of injuries happen.
Sure.
But you would rather have nobody wants to see a player get injured. So I don't want anybody taking this the wrong way. But if a player is going to get injured, you want him injured in the first 20 games of the season.
Right.
You don't want him injured in the last 20 games of the season.
No.
But it's just hey, look, the Islanders are at a point right now. They're in a very, very tough spot. And
yes.
I just don't want to see one of these goalies getting hurt, because now there's going to be more pressure on them to keep them in the games,
right,
over this next 20 game span, and that's how injuries happen. So,
right.
But
is there still hope for Engvall, or is he done? I think you can tell by our silence. I don't know what to make of Pierre Engvall. I don't. I don't know why he doesn't want to apply the body. It's part of the NHL game. I don't know why Toronto didn't have him do that to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
He's got the speed. But I think like Wahlstrom, he's got to play with an edge. He's got to play angrier. He's got to get in dirty sometimes too. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think anybody knows with Engvall, and it's a valid question. Is there still hope for Engvall? Sure. He would make a line better if he got his act together. He is that good. He could be that good. On a third line, if he got his act together, he would make a complete third line somewhere. He can play a little bit of center along with wing. He can do that, but he's got to play more with an edge.
Hey, he was on the line with a guy that played his style of game, Brock Nelson.
Yeah.
He was on his line.
You messed that up.
I mean, what more do you get? I mean, here's a mirror player.
Mess that up?
I mean, they're even like practically the same size.
Right.
Yeah, this is the type of player that's made for you to play with and to learn from, to learn his type of game. And it's just not happening. Maybe the guy needs to change his scenery. Maybe, hey, look, we don't know what goes on behind closed doors in the
Yeah, no.
So,
Sometimes we don't want to know.
you know,
Sometimes we.
yeah.
Yeah.
When they let us leak stuff,
Yeah, that's right. These forwards have to
Yeah,
take some of the blame. Yeah, no, and believe it or not, Randy, I'm gonna go on the kids. I'm gonna go on some of these younger players. They have to step their game up, and they're starting to realize that now. And again, Wah has dangled that carrot. A little more playing time. Show me.
Mhm.
Show me. Engvall has to change his game completely. So take from that what you will. Yeah, it's basically what we just said. Got to be grinding. Got to, he's got to get dirty.
Yeah.
Engvall plays when he wants to. Looking like that.
Well, hey, look, if he was putting the puck in the net and he wasn't throwing the body or doing the dirty work, you don't care because he's scoring goals. But he's not
Right.
doing anything.
No.
He's not doing anything.
Right. Juan needs to send a clear message that no one's job is safe. I mean, you've got 9 million in cap space currently. Well, 9 additional million. You could do that, but I don't know. I don't.
Who you putting? She makes a good point, but
Yeah.
who are you putting in there? These
Yeah.
players know that there's nobody down in Bridgeport that's going to come up and be a threat to
Right.
their jobs, especially the veterans.
Right.
There's no threat there. It's not like you have a kid in
Not
the
yet.
AHL that's ripping up, tearing it up, lighting it up, where you're going to have one of your veterans say, "Hey, wait a minute,"
Right. And they know that. Now,
Yeah.
having said that, Angie, I think when Anthony Duclair comes back, I think Pierre Engvall is getting sent back down to Bridgeport.
I could see that happening.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
No doubt. No doubt. Like, hands down. So, we'll see. So, good. 48 minutes in. Any other questions, comments, concerns here? Water cooler talk. Take no prisoners. Yeah. Yeah. A take no prisoners winger. Okay, cool. Engvall has to make the cap work. Well, not if Duclair comes back. I mean, and that's what we were going with before. We're going under the impression that Pelech's going to be out long term. So at some point, you can still keep Matt Barzal long term injured reserve. Then you can put Pelech on long term injured reserve. That'll give you more than a cap, more than enough extra cap to send Pierre Engvall down and bring back Anthony Duclair. I like the hard hat effort this week from the vets, but it's an ongoing thing, the D and getting control there. Albaline. I will give Abilene a little more leeway. It's his first year. I'm kind of pretty sure warned him what he was getting himself into. So give Abilene a little more time. And again, you're losing Riley, you're losing Pelech, you lost Romanoff. That's half your defense. You guys got to remember, Chalowski doesn't have much defense, but here's my other issue here, Joe. Dennis Chalowski, your seventh defenseman, is leading all of your defensemen in goals scored with 1. That's a problem for me.
What do we
you got to get more offense and you got to get more goal scoring from that defense.
What are we, 13 games in?
Yeah.
All right, 13 games in. What was our offensive output from our defensemen last year in the first 13 games?
Dobson
was it last year or the year before we had that, like the first 6 or 7 games the defensemen were?
Yeah, Dobson, I don't have the numbers on me, but I know Dobson went on a tear, Romanoff went on a tear.
Pellet,
Pellick,
right?
Polk, Mayfield weren't there yet,
Right.
but Dobson and Romanoff were basically 2 extra forwards. And then when the injury started to take over, we brought in Mike Riley, and Mike Riley started racking up points like there was no tomorrow. So it
Right.
was the combination of those 3 that got the team really pretty much going. This year, it's no one. I mean,
Right.
they are racking up the assists, but in terms of the goals, it's not there.
See, that's what I like about Abilene. His game when he was with the Devils,
Yeah.
he was just a steady, well-positioned defenseman. That's why I'm glad they brought him in.
Right. Keep everyone on LTIR all season, and they'll be fresh for the playoffs. You can carry 150 million play. No.
That's
I don't want to wait that long.
That's the Ray Ferraro effect in '93.
Yes.
Remember, he broke his leg. He missed the first 50
Yep.
games.
Yep.
And he ripped it up in the playoffs.
Yeah. We need more goals. Why don't they bring up Brian Pino? I believe it or not, I think Brian was just getting over an injury last season as well. He's got 7 goals, I think, so far this season. He's on a good tear, but I don't know. I have to double check later, but I think Brian is on an AHL contract. I don't think he's on an NHL contract. So, Randy said something, with the numbers working. I think the Islanders need to figure out those numbers if they were to bring him up anyway. But again, American Hockey League player. Don't know if that would work. So, any other questions, comments, concerns, guys? Any thoughts that you guys have? Any rumors that you have heard? We'll talk about them here. Honestly, Joe and I haven't asked if the Islanders are talking to anybody at the moment. We know it's still game, 13. We don't like to cause any kind of mischief until at least game 20. So we like to be on their good. We like to be on their good side for a little bit.
They take off the chains.
Yeah. No. But again, the one thing for those of you just coming on, we can confirm that Isaiah George is not being showcased. So let's just dip that right now. He's not going to be part of any trade deal or anything else like that. He is not being showcased. So we wanted to make that very clear. We were able to get confirmation on that. Is Barzell on the move? No. No, not with a 9-year contract. Well, then again, Jonathan Huberdeau was traded. Who knows? But he was a free agent. Who knows? I don't see it. How do you like JG Pajot on the top line? Lack of options? Sorry? Lack of options? Good defensive forward, no doubt. I think that'll help out Bo Horvat in that sense. I think if he, and again, he's had a decent season so far. He's putting up JG Pajot numbers. So I don't know. For now, it's okay.
I didn't get to see the Pittsburgh game.
Okay.
Who was the top line?
I believe it was, and guys, help me out here.
Was it Lee Horvat and
yes, it was Lee Horvat and Pajot.
Lee Horvat and Pajot. When Barzell comes back, I got to see Siplikov on that top line. I'm sorry, they got to do that.
Let's talk about that.
They got to do that.
Let's talk about kids developing here. Kids developing. Siplikov with Horvat and Barzell. By the time Barzell gets back, we're probably talking closer to game 30 for Barzell, 30 games in for Siplikov. Siplikov with Horvat and Barzell. That sounds really nice to me.
Well, the game against Pittsburgh was the game that I picked If Barzell didn't
Right.
get hurt, that would have been the
Right.
game that he would have been on the top line. But things change.
Right. All right. So Gustafson, Brandstrom, and Heycash, the Montreal kid. Yeah. From Rosner. Okay. Um, I mean Brandstrom's been a little bit of a favorite of mine, and I think it's been a favorite of Rosner's now for a while. Um, I wouldn't mind that, but I'm kind of with Joe. I'm kind of looking for someone with a little more size. But Gustafson doesn't. I don't know if he has that much speed, and he's an older guy, and that's why we were having this discussion tonight whether we bring in vets or play the younger kids. Um, Gustafson wouldn't be a bad choice if I don't know. I believe it or not, Joe. I like that 6th round pick for Robert Bortuzzo. That's a safe pick. You know what I mean? It gets you
Yeah.
through the year. A 6th round pick for Gustafson, I wouldn't mind that at all. But I think that's going to lead into what we were already talking about. If Isaiah George can't handle it after a certain amount of time, I think then you're going to make a trade um, to do that. And I agree. I don't know who said it before, but while giving Samuel Bolduc a little tough love, I think Bolduc absolutely needed that. He needed, I guess, to be sent down. Another message needed to be sent. Um, do you think? This is philosophical at this point. If Isaiah George, let's just say he gets tired, 10 games, 15 games in, it's the NHL. We'll see
Right.
what happens. Do you think he would bring back Bolduc on like a revenge tour before he makes a trade? Or do we feel that maybe Bolduc has ran out of chances yet? Depending on the standings?
How many times you got to spank a player
True.
to, you know what I mean? It's
Right.
I don't know. I mean, if he's not getting it,
Right.
then you know
Got to make a trade of some kind.
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. But again, what we've been talking about before with the standings, the Islanders are not eliminated, folks. Honestly, it's not even close. If the Islanders go on a 2-game winning streak and some of these other teams lose, guess what? The Islanders are on pace for 8th place, probably 7th, the way things are going at the moment. Um, you know, it's again the information I got from my guys during the summertime appears to be correct. We're looking at games 30 or 40 when we really should be looking at the standings. So the Islanders have a little more time to
Not
get
much.
things fixed up.
Not much.
No, not much, but they
20
have a little
games.
more time than they normally would in other seasons. Yeah.
20 games. They gotta keep
Jack Eye. Okay, thank you.
uh,
Beautiful. Yeah, Jack Eye will cost a lot. Have more likely to move Matheson. Ah, if Matheson had a little more speed, Angie, I'd be all over that. Matheson with a little more speed, I'd be all over that. That would be perfect. Jack Eye. Gotcha.
I like that, by the way.
That's
the
we would have
breakdown
fun
of the
with that.
pronunciation. I like that. That's good.
McLean and the kid, what's the situation? Scoring for now is in this hole in it, right? Get D off waivers and trade our value for picks. It's time that we steal a player. Use George as an interim. Hope he doesn't get wrecked. Well, maybe, and maybe there is someone off that waiver wire. Like I said, the Islanders may have more long-term injured reserve cap space for much longer than we may realize. So it's things. Oh, here's a good dig. Maybe Bolduc can hit the ceiling like Sallow. Ouch. True though.
Yeah,
Absolutely true.
that's a great point.
His nickname is Wi-Fi. Easier to remember. Tech Eye Wi-Fi. I love all this. That's fine. No, I know who he is. And he would be a very steady player, but he's very much like Romanov in terms of not inconsistency. He would be like another Darius Kasparaitis in a sense. Um, Joe has no problem with that at all, but
No
I
problem.
no, but I like Romanov's game now more than I ever have because now I think Romanov is not Darius Kasparaitis. He's Kasparaitis with a lot better defense. Romanov is becoming Romanov. 10 years, 15 years, if we're not doing this in 15 years, but fans 15 years from now will be like, okay, he's playing like Romanov, not Kasparaitis. Like there's
Right.
going to be another level there. So Randy. Jack is a nasty psycho. Yeah, but we like that.
Of course.
Islander fans love that type of player. We really do.
You need a player with an
We're
edge.
sick like that. Yes. We're sick like that. All right, boys and girls. Any other questions, comments, concerns that you guys have? Again, is it still early? Yeah, but time's running out. Time is running out. The standings for now, we're the Islanders are fine. A 3-game losing streak. Ugh. Ugh. Like that's it. Okay. I would almost throw into the towel on that
Well,
one.
it all depends on the 3 or 4 teams that are ahead of you.
Yeah.
You know.
And again, some of these teams I wasn't convinced with anyway. So I'm still hopeful with the Islanders here, but me personally, I love the fact that the Islanders have an organization now where you can bring up kids. You can bring up Bridgeport and not go 0-8-2 in 10 games.
Right.
If there's ever a positive coming out of this, it's the fact that Islanders have enough depth in Bridgeport to try to salvage the season and not bomb.
Right.
And be a bottom 5 NHL team this season. Agreed. No, there's no tanking. And again, you have to be bad. Like you would need 6 more injuries bad to tank this year. Concerns with how bad Bridgeport is. Yes. Yikes. They're 2-6 or 2-6-2, whatever they are. I got told that the players are still learning a system. They're getting it all together right now. They said give them, again, like we've been talking about the Islanders in the NHL, give them another 10 games. See where they are after game 20. I will say this, though. I think every defenseman on that Bridgeport team, Joe, have more goals than Matthew Maggio. And they all have at least one. Matthew Maggio, that speedy Ontario Hockey League Player of the Year, 0 goals this starting season. William DeFore has 1. You want to know why you're 2-6-2? Bingo, that helps.
Yeah.
And it's like you said before, some of these kids need a wake-up call. They need a wake-up call.
Also, when you go up to the next level, you know,
right,
the game speeds up for you.
Right.
It's an adjustment.
A few teams need to make trades opportunities. Believe it or not, Robin, I said this on the viewing party last week. And again, for those of you who showed up last week, thank you so much for putting up with me for almost 3 hours. Yeah, I know it's bad.
Oh my
What
God.
I learned from other scouts, Robin, was that general managers usually start sending scouts to do their research on other teams by game 10 of the season because it's like, okay, who's on the trending down, who's going to be out. They kind of do the same things we do here on the show. We like to eliminate teams first, and then we start like picking and choosing and whatnot. Scouts actually start doing that by game 10. So Montreal making trades and deals, of course, they have the injuries. If Nashville continues to lose, yes, they're not in a good spot. Philadelphia is going to be making moves at some point. And you're starting to see that now. The rumor mill, and I said this at the beginning of the season, the rumor mill is going to be going nuts probably from here on out up until the trade deadline. So if you have a favorite rumor mill or favorite rumor website, enjoy because you're going to be reading something every day, probably for the rest of the season or until the trade deadline. Trust me, Joe, it's not as pretty by hour 3. Thank you. Love you too. Wow. Yeah, Karlstrom with 5. Look, I said before, my hope for Karlstrom, Frederick Karlstrom, is that he becomes the next bottom 6 center for the Islanders. I think a JG Joe replacement at some point. He's put up 20 goals the last couple of seasons now for the Dallas organization, an organization that has done very well developing their prospects. He just didn't get a shot there because of a numbers game. And those are the prospects, those are the players, the free agents that I like to see. Hopefully he gets an opportunity at some point. Trot said if today, if Nashville doesn't start winning, they will sell it off. Probably. I love Robin. Uncle Leo is available. I don't know if I'd bring back Uncle Leo at the moment. I need someone who can really score goals. I love his two-way game, but we already have JG Pajot for that. I need someone. Ah, I know. See now we're gonna start fight. Now we're gonna start a fight here. Sharagovich or Kuzmenko. Um, just to tick off Randy, I would take Sharagovich in a heartbeat. Yes, sir.
Let me interrupt you. I
Go
gotta
for it.
go because we have a big fire down here, and there's cops in my development. I don't know if they're evacuating us. So
Okay.
big
Good
fire
luck.
like 2
Keep
miles
me
away
posted.
from. All right, we will.
Yes.
Thank you, everybody.
Yep.
Everybody have a good night. All right, I'll talk to you
Yep.
later.
We'll see you later, bud. Good
You
luck.
got it.
Bye.
Bye.
Yep. Okay. Unfortunately, you stuck with me for the next 5 or 10 minutes here. Yeah, I'm gonna tick off Randy here. He already knows this. I wanted Sharagovich. I have always wanted Sharagovich. Um, I wouldn't mind Kuzmenko at the moment. I wouldn't mind Kuzmenko. But again, I think we gotta give this season, not just the Islanders, we gotta give this season at least another 15 games, 20 games. Um, I would still like to see Siplikov, and I know Joe wants to see Siplikov on that top line first. Let's see what he can do first. I would love to take Sharagovich away from Randy. You have no idea. I know. Dawson Mercer. I like the kid. I like the kid. I don't know what it would take to grab him, but I'm not against that either, Rob. Get the itch. I like that. Uh, so what? So what? Big deal. You're in a retool or a rebuild. I'll give you Siplikov for Sharagovich. Go ahead. Who else do you want? No, don't do that. The one thing I hate doing with Randy, I love him, but he loves to play armchair GM almost every day. It's annoying. I hate doing that with him. And I hate playing armchair GM. Always have. So, any other questions, comments, concerns, rumors? uh, I thought about Lucas Reichel. Would be nice from the Hawks. Um, Not a bad move. I don't mind Lucas Reichel at all. Again, I don't think the Hawks are really letting him go. But again, I don't mind that idea at all. No, 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 no. He'd go missing. Trust me, he'd go missing. No. Again, Randy, I'll include with him. Randy and I can have some very good, serious hockey talk. Um, it's why I bring him on the show every once in a while. Um, until he wears his, Toronto Maple Leafs Tavares jersey, then I block him for a week. Because then he's just doing it to annoy me. So, all right, boys and girls, thank you so much for coming on. This has been a lot of fun, but again, we wanted to bring you into a conversation that Joe and I usually have over the summer. It's just hockey talk. It's about the Islanders. It's just philosophical at this point, and we enjoy bringing you guys in for those conversations. Because again, it is still it's early, but it's starting. We're not doing the grind just yet. It's usually after Thanksgiving that we start doing the grind. But again, this Eastern Conference, just for this year, is weird. It's weird in the sense that it's younger, it's not as experienced. So we're going to give the Eastern Conference a little more time to see how it all pans out. And the Islanders have been given a little more time to sort things out. And if that means playing younger players for now to see what they have, I'm all for it. I hope you guys are all for it. Again, it's been a great night. Thank you once again for coming on. And listen, please follow us on X, like and follow us on Facebook. And if you could please like and follow us on YouTube. The numbers have been going up. We thank you for that. It's been a great ride so far. We want you to come along and don't lose hope yet. Um, Believe me, I'll be the first one to let you know when it's really over. At least for this season. But it's not over. Continue playing the kids. No, you cannot have Alex Jeffries yet. Maybe in February or March. Until then, boys and girls, we'll be back next week. Enjoy your weekend, and we'll see you later.